Today is October 9th, 2024. It is, of
Spooky
course,
season.
Wizard Wednesday. It's a good day to join a cult. Channeling in from the Quantum Downs, this is the Black Gold of the Wood, Elf J Trul, and I've got some friends on stage with me.
Hey, it's Dotta, the orange fuzzy puppet, your best friend. We've got a lot of folks up here. Who else is going? Go ahead, T Slash. Let's hear it.
Tad's
Tad.
here. Tad's
Hey.
hanging out. What's up, 2 Slash?
What's up?
What's up? What's up, guys? Guys, when can we play the game?
Oh man, we'll get there. We'll get there. We got an Nalgene up here today. The ever perceptive Nalgene. What's going on, man?
What's up, Nalge?
Yeah. Well, he's here but muted, I suppose.
Yeah. The quantum shadow is striking everywhere today.
There we go.
And we have Nalgene, but we don't have Bear because Bear's in the hospital. What is it? Hemorrhoids? Something? I can't remember what it was.
Oh boy!
Oh.
You're doing it like that?
Bear doesn't have hemorrhoids. I'm kidding. I arm wrestled him last night and I injured him badly. So
yeah, poor guy. Poor guy.
But yeah, we've got some fun things to talk about today. We will be talking about the game. We will be talking about the true identity of Satoshi Nakamoto because we know who it is. And just a few other little things here and there. But yeah, I mean, since everybody's asking, Chase JP and 2/Run and honestly, a lot of people in the Secret Tower are asking any sort of updates on the game.
Of course, yeah. So, we're grinding hard on really all of the things that we're need to fix to get it ready for live service, right? So, I had a call with Geldor today to kind of talk about some of the economy stuff that we're working through, right? So, there's all sorts of things from kind of correcting some of the mana yield in the game from last time. There's some new currency within the game that we're talking about introducing for some other types of functions, and we'll have more to release on that. We're updating the white paper, and we should have a new version of the white paper out pretty soon. Let me try to look at my notes here. So, there's one of the important things about this game, right, is that we're trying to make sure that the game is fun rather than farming, right? Fun over farming is the idea here. That said, I think that there's a lot of really interesting DeFi mechanics on helping manage game economies. And so we're looking at some of those, we're evaluating some of those. Another thing that a lot of people have talked about are bots, right? We talked about bots kind of internally. I don't really know that this is believable or whatever, but my perspective is something like this, which is that the meme of the bots being a problem was actually bigger than kind of the actual data for bots. So, for example, so really when you look at kind of how the economy went, or maybe the land prices. A big part of it was there was just, let's say, natural born players grinding super hard, and there was a ton of users for the game. And so, maybe we can talk about, well, the land emission rate should have been lower or whatever. We're going to change kind of all of really the yields for the next version. And so we're just working out the numbers on that. But I think really it was more around kind of land yield rather than bot farming. But at the same time, I think when you do see maybe when it's so obvious when you see people walk around in little clusters, people do get frustrated, right? So maybe the meme of bots sort of outlives even the actual data behind them. So we're still doing some work there. Bisonic has a person who's an expert machine learning person who's working on some of the bot combatants there. So yeah, really just all of these other pieces, right? How do we get better at comms? How do we get better about telling the cult what the plan is? How do we make sure that we can give people a vision for what the future is going to look like while still retaining kind of flexibility in terms of dates, in terms of feature sets, in terms of what we're going to release, right? Because there's a lot of pieces left still to build, and you can't really like release it all at once. So yeah, we're working on the comms. We'll have some things to tell you. I think we are. Well, I don't want to give dates, right? Here's what I can tell you is that like we are working towards another like build where everyone can come in and play, and like clearly we want that, right? We've been working on this game for 3 years. We just had a build. We're making changes. We're going to have another build, and then we're going to have live service. So hang tight for kind of like dates, but like it's really in this time. It's really actually just getting better in between now and then.
2/. Does that answer your questions?
Yeah, definitely. Nice, guys. I'm really looking forward to it. But that brings out another question in me now. Will we have another wipe like the open beta?
It TBD, right? So I think that there is a case where maybe we do like another intermediate build before live service. I'm not saying that there will or that there won't be, right? And if there is, then there is this open question like, do we hold to the wipes that we said were going to happen for the last build, or is this considered like a beta build where we let everybody, kind of keep what they had before? For sure, when we go to live service, there we will be wiping. Matt, do you have the list in front of you? Like we posted an announcement in the channel, the list of things that you'll keep and the list of things that will be wiped. And the thing is that like so for live service, for example, part of the reason why we do betas is because we learn that, for example, like certain builds or certain items or certain like mechanics are like don't work, right? So like some of the items are going to change in abilities, and if you let people maybe keep those old items, it throws the balance off. Like it's so important that when we start the game, that everybody like feels like they can have a more or less equal playing field, right? So yeah, here's the announcement that I have. Basically, after when we do live service, what you will keep is your mana, your cards, your land, your bear statues, the builder's crates, quantum gifts, scaleborn chests, any sort of special banners that you got, or any special CBT decorations like the Alistair statue or the cloud chair. But what will be wiped is the character progress, your materials, right? So you start at level 1, your materials, the equipment, and the recipes. Because those are the sort of like off-chain pieces that need to be like adjusted, reset for the live build. So I know that people who ground to level 15 are going to want, it's not that fun to go from 1 to level 15 again, but that's just a consequence of playing a beta. So those are the things that will be wiped. Now, will there be another build where you're able to maybe keep some of those things? I'm not sure. It hasn't been decided. Will there be a build where maybe like if you had items, you might be able to like break them down? I'm not sure. But ultimately, when we go to live service, character progress, materials, equipment, and recipes will all be wiped.
Right. And we wanted to make sure that we gave like that, like obviously there's some goodies that you keep for like helping us with beta testing and stuff. So that's why we specifically had like, the cards and the gifts that we gave out and builders crates, right? Those are all kind of things that we wanted to have. Like, even though we're gonna do wipes, you want to have something that, shows that you were here and kind of like as a prize that you played the game with. So so it's not all like, not all lost. A lot of things that that you got in game were specifically made because we wanted to test those things, so like certain spells and stuff. So like in the full build of the game, you may not, it may not be at that quest line wherever that gives that spell. Maybe that spell doesn't even drop from a quest line. Maybe it's like a rare drop from a monster, right? But we can't test it like in that way if we were gonna balance it like that. So for the beta builds, pretty much I can want to make sure that most people get all the core spells and stuff, but that may not be the case the full game. So it's just all for balancing purposes, right? Like it's not meant to like punish anybody, and we wanted to make sure that we gave good, make sure that people left it, even though we do wipes, you left it feeling like you got something valuable in return. And I think that a lot of people are going to be happy about the gifts that they get from playing these builds. So.
And I also feel like something to keep in mind when we talk about the game on Wizard Wednesday is like we are trying to do our best to share with you guys what the current thinking is, at the moment, right? And this is sort of like more intimate space, right? There's 60 people here. this is the best plan that we have right now because we want to make sure that you don't feel like in the dark. I think that you probably know, and anyone here who's tried to build something of this level of complexity knows that things change. Things 100% will change. We'll try to do our best about telling you when they change. But I think that, like, part of kind of like being part of the beta, part of coming to Wizard Wednesday and just sort of like having a fireside chat means that like the things that we say aren't exactly set in stone. But this is our best prediction for right now.
Dude, these are already a lot of information, and thank you guys. Thank you, Dotta.
Incredible. Great. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to see so much interest in the game, and it's obviously a full MMORPG is a lot of work, but
yeah, and some of the things that you can look forward to, right? And I'm not saying that these are not in order, or I'm not giving you like time frames on these things, right? But like things that need to happen are we're finishing the white paper and we're going to release it. Magic Machine has a new website redesign and we're going to release that. We are working on a new map browser, right? Forgotten Zillow. I got to say, hopefully this shows up in the Cult Content Chronicle, but Drondin put together a really cool map browser for the land. And we've got something like similar that will be integrated with Forgotten Market. We'll be talking about like various reveals, right? The quantum gifts, as you know, currently are just boxes. And so there's kind of like reveals and levels of reveals that can happen there. There are like properties even within the land that haven't been revealed yet that will eventually be revealed. There's plus those are just the things that I can talk about, right? So there's a whole, and that's just on the game side. On the on the NFT side too, we've got, well, we'll talk about it, some of the events coming up, but on the game side, there's like a whole list of maybe 20 things that we have planned for sort of new websites, new information about the mechanics, new reveals about the NFTs that are all sort of like lined up. So I know that maybe some folks have said the last 3 weeks have felt a bit quiet, and that'll change pretty soon.
Yeah, I think you touched earlier on like the white paper being made. I'm actually in the middle of like writing it, and like we want to kind of like there's a lot of information that we feel like has been like outdated since like the old white paper, right? And also like a lot of questions that we've been monitoring and kind of like looking at what people are like hungering to kind of like learn about. And we feel like it's we want to answer all those, and we feel like the best way to do it would be like a nice release that kind of like brings everything in like a streamlined format. So like the white paper is gonna have the new white paper is going to have like updated, like not only just updates from the old white paper, so like kind of like adding like new mechanics that have been like added that over time as we develop the game more, but also is going to be trying to like answer some of those questions that people have been like that have been floating around. Like I'm trying to make sure to get some of that information to higher levels so that we can kind of like structure the white paper in a way that it addresses a lot of like questions that are constantly popping up. Like I won't get into specifics of it. We'll be releasing it later, but just wanted to let everybody know, like we're listening to feedback and we want to try to address them as best as we can. So
yeah, we made huge. I think we probably had 2 or 3 different teams like put together documents during the build,
yep,
and post build of just like, here are the things people are asking about, complaining about, confused about, and we're taking in all of that and fixing it and explaining it better.
Right. I think the approach was essentially like there's a lot that we felt like we should cover, and so like we want to give it the respect that deserves, kind of, right? Like a nice kind of like here's like a release that kind of addresses all these questions you have, rather than just kind of like piecemeal tackle them. So
I shared the Wizard Wednesday tweet up in a pinned tweet up top. So if you wouldn't mind, click on that tweet, give it a fave, give it a bookmark, give it a retweet. Every little fave counts. Let's bring people in and to Wizard Wednesday.
I like your plug there, Dotta.
There you go.
And also, my audio is back. Apologies, everybody. A 3.5 millimeter jack dislodged itself from my PC setup. So
oh no.
Okay, great. Let's move to some other questions. Crucifor is asking, when lore site going live? And I've seen a lot of other people ask about the lore site that I had talked about, God, I don't know, maybe like 2-3 months ago. I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. The lore site has taken a new form. Basically, all of the lore content that was going to be on the lore site is now in the Wikipedia. And then I think we are going to update the Book of Lore itself with a much stronger, like, introductory section that will also have this core lore. If you want to know, like, what was going to be on this lore site specifically, it's the Wikipedia page on magic, the one on the Ouroboros, the technological singularity. And then there's going to be a few others on the Beast Gate, wizards themselves, and another just like core lore components. But yeah, I mean, the problem was like when you build a website, there's the content, and that's like 30% of it, and then there's like the design and the building and the UI and the UX and like all these other technical components. That we've realized, like, okay, we're building a new website for the main site. We're also updating the Book of Lore. This core lore website might feel redundant. Like it could be folded into other things that we already have. So that's basically the status of it.
My feeling is this idea of like dog fooding, right? That like we have to eat our own dog food of the tools that we provide for the community, right? So like if we get to a place where we're sitting down and Elf's like, I need to write about the magic system and I have no tools for that. That's a huge problem, right? Because that's saying like, well, what about the Book of Lore? Well, the Book of Lore doesn't work because it's oriented around character tokens. What about Wikipedia? Well, Wikipedia is like too hard to use and it's disorganized and it doesn't look good, right? And so it's like, okay, well then how do we expect the cult to write this kind of meta lore if we can't even do it ourselves, right? And so there's a few pieces here. So one would be Wikipedia itself. I think that like my biggest pain point maybe with Wikipedia is that it's a bit slow, and that's an infrastructure issue that we can fix. We're going to upgrade the service for Wikipedia. I'm a fan of MediaWiki. I think it's shown itself to be the kind of enough of a power tool for a community of our size. There are other wikis like like the fan wikis or whatever, but I think that like we're a power user, especially as we start integrating like the game things into the wiki. Like there's a lot of good pieces there. The downside about MediaWiki is that it's a little bit challenging to organize, right? It's like it's like a garden. You constantly got to weed eat it and reorganize it, and so you need kind of like a champion. And so yeah, I mean to that end, we've basically recruited Igdul to help us.
We hired a champion.
Yeah, we've hired a champion, Igdul, the incredible kind of writer who's been helping us with the Wizard Wednesday recaps, as well as like. He's been sending us kind of just like almost like a newsletter of like Forgotten Runes tweets every morning, and so we love that. Has been helpful, but at the same time, it's like there's so much to be done on Wikipedia. We've kind of put him on that and had a call with him yesterday, and that was really, really, really nice. I think this is the first time I'd ever talked to him via voice.
Yeah. So we hired Igdul to be full time on the Wikipedia. He's going to check in.
Well, not full time, but all of the time that we have him for.
Yeah. But yeah, he's going to check in with me every Thursday. The first big tasks I've put him on is just like hunting out pages that have double entries, making sure places on the map all have entries, just cleaning up grammar and stuff. Like the first pass is just kind of just a big sort of cleanup and reorg. But then eventually we want to really, I want to redesign the homepage. I think it could be better. And then I might even have Igdul start creating new entries on a lot of things. And then I have just a ridiculous labyrinth of Google Docs of lore that I've written about Forgotten Runes at large, and I'm going to start handing those off to him to get into the Wikipedia. For example, like all the heads. Like I've got lore written for almost every head. I just need somebody to get it in there. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the Wikipedia work that Igdul is going to do is really going to be helpful.
So yeah, the other part the other side of this is the book of lore, right? And so there's like a million pieces here in terms of kind of like, I don't know, let's say low user satisfaction with the current version of the book of lore. The original version was open source. It was forked for Forgotten Ludes, and the original version was completely on, chain and IPFS. The new version, but the problem was that required people to pay gas. So we made a version which is offline. There is an API for it, right? But we haven't really documented the API very thoroughly, so it's not exactly clear how you could, write your own book of lore. Plus, like starting from scratch is a tall order, right? So there's these issues around. It's not open source, so the builders can't really contribute to it, and it's baked into the Forgotten Runes website, which has a lot of other things on it. It's using IPFS, which frankly these days we'd probably use ARweave. Now, granted, there's a bit of a fee there, but it could be subsidized. So I think like that's one issue. It's like it's not open source. It's not using probably the durability that we would use today. Then there's this other issue around like, and it's based around character tokens, right? The Book of Lore is based around you own a wizard, you write about that wizard. That was so innovative in 21, but it's a little bit dated right now because we have these issues of what Elf is talking about, which is, I can't write this like meta lore about what the magic means. Uh, Sorry, there's so much honking in the background. There's
sorry. Sorry.
You can't write about a location, right? So we have this map, and like you should be able to like write about the map. Everyone should be able to write about the map, and then have some sort of like quality controls there. You should be able to write lore about items. You should be able also when you go even focus back on the characters. What we have is almost like a markdown editor blog post. We should try to get an editor that feels more like Google Docs, so you don't have to learn Markdown. We should implement the ability to. We have AI now. We didn't have AI actually when we started the Book of Lore in 21. Stable Diffusion wasn't even a thing, and so now there should be some sort of deeper integration to kind of like collecting the AI art that gets generated, being able to maybe generate AI art either in the Book of Lore or adjacent to it. This idea that you might be able to define your character's personality and alignment and traits and attributes, right? That like right now, even when you use the Deep Dream Master, it's the traits are fixed, but like Magus Devon has a Game Boy, and like that's not part of the collection exactly, but she should be able to define that in her character's like lore page, right? So you can see these like 4 or 5 different areas that all actually need to be brought under like one house, which is like, I don't know, Book of Lore 2.0. There's a new version of the Book of Lore which supports this idea of like the meta lore, the characters, relationships between them, more metadata about the characters, better durability, better usability. So all those things are like in development, and we're not going to have this done by October, but like the lore is the core of the project, and we're finally ready to kind of like revisit the Book of Lore, and so. Yeah, give it some time. It's underway.
Yeah, let me say another lore thing that is underway, and this will tie back to the game. My big job right now it's really my most fun. It's the thing I love to work on the most, which is just writing lore documents. And so right now I am writing lore documents for the game, specifically stories around the dungeons. And what I really love about it is it's a place in the game that I think is going to interact with just the community lore and the NFT lore more than anything else that we've seen in the game as of yet. And I'm really getting a lot of different community members' lore into these dungeon stories, and not just your lore, but your characters as well. So, like you can. I think that you can expect to see like a lot of community members' characters actually in the dungeons, playing a role in the story. And so that's a lot of fun. I'm sure some of you have seen in the Secret Tower over the last few days. I've been putting out lore calls, and that's why I've been doing that. And I'll probably do more. So if you want to see your lore get featured, just look out for the lore calls.
Yeah, I also feel like in the early, I don't know, let's say revisions of the game or like conceptions of the game, there was this kind of idea that was like, what if we use someone's character in the game and then they meet themselves in the game? And it was like, oh no, like that would be so weird to meet yourself. And it's like, actually, no, that's wrong. Like, that means that there's one person out of 10,000. Actually, it means there's one person out of 100,000 who, if they go to that quest, they might see themselves, right? And it's like, actually, if you wrote a story about your character's lore and then you play the game and then you meet your character enacting that lore, that's amazing. You're going to be happy about that. And all the other 100,000 people get to like play almost a version of your lore. That's like the point of the whole project, right? So I think that like maybe some of the early versions we haven't put two and two together there exactly, which it sounds a little obvious in hindsight, but well, that's what we're doing now, and I'm like very excited about it.
Yeah, I've got a few things to say about that actually. For one, video games are expected to sort of break these bounds of logic at certain times. Like, I don't know, for example, like the video game Street Fighter, like you can play as Chun-Li and you can fight against Chun-Li, and nobody who's playing the game is like, wait, this takes me out of the fantasy. I don't like this. It's totally accepted.
Yeah.
There are tons of examples of this just in games all across the gamosphere. Secondly, if I could get a little meta for a second, one of the sort of philosophical components of this entire project is this idea of dualism. For me, I was inspired by the Gnostic idea of dualism, but really, it's a much bigger concept. It's this idea that you, as like a flesh and blood person, can role play as like a digital character on the internet, and so there's two identities that you're constantly maintaining in this sort of quantum state of being. The phrase "I am my wizard and my wizard is me" speaks to this. And so, you could imagine in such a scenario that you would be playing a game as your character, and then you would see your character in another context, and there's like some meta lore to actually explain that. So, just game logic and internet logic and this idea of dualism. They can all be invoked to sort of explain this idea. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, you might see your character in a dungeon as you play as your character. Just accept it. But yeah, so yeah, that is one really fun thing I've been working on. The dungeon stories are. It's funny because like at first I wasn't too excited to write them because telling a story through a video game medium is, it's not like a comic, it's not like a show, it's its own thing. But now I've embraced it and I'm actually really excited. Like I'll just put it this way: there's a whole dungeon story that involves the Impy Shake, and man, it is so fun. So yeah, I'm really excited for y'all to play the dungeon stories.
Yeah, I think like we already see how the dungeons were structured in the open beta, so they're kind of like like mini stories that can be explored with them, and like so that kind of gives the flexibility for kind of like doing like a small adaptation of like a book of lore entry, right? Like because like in the larger scope of the game, right, there's going to be like another like larger meta narrative, and like the question becomes like how do you really kind of like integrate some of these smaller stories into that larger narrative? And like I feel like dungeons are like a really good place for that because they have this small kind of like structured story that you kind of play along with your friends and kind of experience all together, and you can have like those special special NPCs in there, like maybe even special locations and stuff that can be like just specifically for like that story. So like it gives a lot of cool flexibility that doesn't like overall have to like distract from like the larger the larger mainframe of the game itself. Yep,
absolutely. And also just one like side anecdote about the Wikipedia. This is so totally disconnected, but there was something crazy that happened a few days ago. The Wikipedia was down. We could not access it. And I was like, Woz, what's wrong with the Wikipedia? And he dug into the code, and he discovered that Claude, the AI, was data mining our Wikipedia, aka stealing our information. And like that was a little bit of an insult, but to add the insult to injury, the fact that we could not use the site while they were robbing us, like that just blew.
That's so
my
funny.
mind.
I don't think I had an opposite reaction. I was like, this is amazing. We're training the AI with like our book of lore and Wikipedia. Like now you're going to be able to ask Claude directly questions about Wikipedia, and Forgotten Runes is going to know it. Like, do you know how like cool I felt when I asked? Like you can go to ChatGPT and be like, what do you know about Dotta and Elf from Forgotten Runes? And it knows. You don't even have to use the Loracle.
That is cool. Yes. The fact that you could ask ChatGPT or Claude about us. What's not cool is, number one, they took it without permission. Number two, they're probably making money on our data. And number three, now that they have it without asking, there is no telling what they will do with it or monetize with it. Or
I don't want to make Bearsnake bored and have this debate again.
No, I don't want to have the debate either. I'm just saying, like I'm not as optimistic about it as you are. I mean, it's undeniable that they did take it without permission, and now they can do whatever they want with it. So who knows where that'll lead? Maybe it'll lead nowhere, but that just seems like an insult. Plus, the fact that we could not use the site while they were mining
that was
us,
annoying.
That's annoying.
Elf will no longer be using Midjourney to help concept artwork because it violates.
Oh no, I'll still use all these AI apps. I just think that the regulation around them and about how they gather data really needs to be addressed.
I feel like if there's any consultation to this Elf, if Claude decides to use our data for whatever reason, I think that we've made significant progress in making ourselves known that they would want to be like, yeah, let's just use Forgotten Runes data front and center on our page.
You know, I feel this way whenever I have to like wait for a train. We have a lot more trains in Texas than we had in California. And where it's like, I'm on my way to wherever I'm going, and I have to sit there and wait for like 20 minutes for this like massive train. And it's like incredibly frustrating because it's like, I'm paying for my time for the train company to like use this space, and like they make money on it and I don't, you know? But I guess that I sort of feel that something like, yeah, but society as a whole benefits. So I'm airing off. I'm airing off.
Sorry, but like, guys, you would not accept this from Google or Facebook or any other company. I mean, this is a debate that has been hashed out.
That's not true, because if someone searches Forgotten Runes Wizards Cult, I do want Google to show us.
I'm not talking about like dispersing our data to other people. I'm talking about the fact that these corporations take it without permission and like literally steal it, and then they make money off of your data and you don't. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, glad we agree. All right. We have a Halloween event coming up.
I wouldn't say we agree. I would just say I'm ready to move on.
Okay, wait, hold on. You're saying you're totally fine with Google reading your emails, taking all of your information, and selling it?
Transitioning over to the Halloween
No, entropy.
Go!
Entropy, stop. You're cool with Google reading your emails, taking your data, and then selling it back to advertisers and then targeting ads towards you?
I really like Gmail. It's like the best Gmail app.
Dotta, I'm talking about them reading and taking your data and then selling it back to you. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm going to do a quick poll in the Discord. Would you guys rather continue this discussion or hear about our Halloween event?
Yeah.
Just that one question, and then we'll move on.
I'm okay with it.
Okay, got it. All right, Halloween. We put out an image on the main account. And it's coming. We don't have a date yet, but expect probably around Halloween. If you were there for the last one, you would know that, honestly, it was probably one of the most fun things we ever did. And we are aiming to do it again, except maybe even better this time.
It's going to be so fun. So, okay, what can we say? There's a group of things we can't say, a group of things we can. So the one thing is it's in 3D. It's using Improbable and the Edison platform. So we are partnering with the incredible Edison platform. And so, is the founder of the Edison platform well known? Whatever. Because I want to give credit where credit is due, but then I don't know if they're not. Anyway, it's going to be in 3D.
Don't know either.
Yeah, it's going to be so fun. If you're listening and you're the founder, tell us if we can say who you are. And so there will be a 3D environment where you can run around as your wizard. We have also talked about you can run around as your drumroll please, as your 3D warrior. It's going to be incredible. Man, I can't even believe how like how proud I am of the 3D team for the degree of like work that it took to implement 16,000 warrior models. Are you freaking kidding me? So like I really don't think that there's any other project that has 3D models to the degree that we do. They already didn't when we had wizards, and now with warriors on top of it, they look amazing. Am I allowed to tease out a video of a 3D warrior? Like, to what degree have we gone to Twitter about this? And Entropy, Elf, do I have to wait?
I was gonna drop a leak of a still in chat. I might prefer to leave some of the video stuff for other things.
So we've got some really so cool models. I can't even believe it. The warrior models look so good. And hey, Dr. Mellon.
Oh boy, here we
go.
Ancient One.
Hi, Winston.
Hi, Winston.
So, I heard you are a gathering of fellow wizards, the mastery of the mystic arts.
100%, yeah. Anybody
100%.
Is big booty man art belongs in our cult.
Oh, yes. We will join the cult to summon the Ancient Ones, Neo-Lefotep. And he will use his dark powers to enslave those peasants.
Sounds like cool. Sounds like a plan.
Exactly. We'll make big cash money.
Okay.
I don't know about that one, but I think the other thing sounds cool.
Oh, exactly, my good man.
Can we answer any questions for you? Or, I mean, really, like, tell us more about yourself.
Well, I'd like to say that in my free time, I like to eat cream and crumpets and go for long walks on the beach with my dearest mother. She is quite the lovely lady, I must say.
Okay, great. Bring her up.
Yeah.
Hello. Oh, my son the wizard was just talking about you fellow chaps, and he was just saying how much he loves cream and crumpets. I see this is a wizard gathering, is it not?
It is, and we love crumpets.
Oh, me too, darling. I'll put my son back on.
Thank you, Mother. Now, fellow chaps, you know how to summon the Ancient One, Neo-Lefotep.
I don't know the Ancient One.
You don't?
No.
Dude, we can talk Lovecraft lore later, but we're trying to announce a Halloween event. I'm gonna mute this guy. Sorry, Dotta. Yeah. So, Dotta, you were complimenting the 3D on the Warriors, the 3D team. It was actually not our team. We hired an amazing studio called Game Vision to do all of our 3D Warriors. But yeah, I mean, Waz and Frog right now are going through a lot to get them all assembled. So I just wanted to clarify that these were not made in-house. Yeah, sorry, Dotta, where'd you leave off? I don't remember.
Oh, tea and crumpets, I think. Yeah.
We're going to have souls and wizards and warriors in 3D all together at the same time for the first time.
Yes, that was it. That was it, yes. Wizards, warriors, and Souls will all be invited to this event for the first time ever.
Don't forget pussy.
Oh my god. Oh man.
I don't know.
Normally I love
like,
trolls, but
yeah, it's just part of this is part of what we do here.
It's part of it for sure. Man, I don't even know how to get back on track.
The 3D Warriors are an incredible achievement, and you did a really good job, and I can't wait to show them to everybody. How many heads are there in the Warriors collection? There's like 160 or something. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Again,
well, let me put it this way. There's like over 600 assets, including heads, bodies, weapons, and shields.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just like it was quite literally a Herculean task getting all of these together. But yeah, they're going to be ready for this Halloween event. So okay, I know this is what I was going to say. I think I'm back on track. Here's what's really fun about this event. We're calling it Might versus Magic, which is obviously Wizards versus Warriors. And Souls, you're on the side of Magic, of course. But yeah, we've got like a real game built out, and I won't talk about the game mechanics today. But like, it's not just going to be just a maze where everybody has to run through it. It's actually more of a game this time. And Dotta, are we allowed to mention the donut?
I think so, yeah. And I mean, I think the maze was like incredible and a super like fun event.
Oh yeah.
But like one of the things about it was that it ran for just like 1 hour, and I think the current iterations were designing for running for longer than that, which is like, so there's like a new mechanic that's a little bit more, the more I talk, the more we talk, the more we're going to get in trouble. But it's a little more PvP than a maze where it was sort of like running through it. So the team at at Edison, at Improbable, are just done an absolutely incredible job. We can't talk about. We need to move on because I'm going to reveal everything. But yeah, donuts are a big part. Donuts will be up. You can earn donuts by playing this game.
Donuts, Might versus Magic, and it actually takes place on a place on the map, Mount Umbra. Everybody knows where that is, in the middle of the Quantum Shadow.
You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, so basically the lore behind it is usually Mount Umbra is totally inaccessible to just about everyone because it's got a sort of black magic barrier around it. However, it being spooky season and it being the time of year that the Nightmare Imp loves to play his tricks, he is going to remove that barrier because, of course, he is a master of black magic. He's removing the barrier. Wizards and warriors are going to converge upon the slopes of Mount Umbra and basically search for the black magic donuts and any other treasures that the mountain might offer. So that's the basic lore. I'll probably say more about it in the future, but yeah, there's our very clumsy rollout of the Halloween event.
Hey!
I want to give a special shout out to Igdul, who had no inside information to solve this, but I did post a silly little puzzle on the Twitter. I think it was last week, and Igdul was the only person to solve it correctly in the comments. Black magic donuts.
Oh, nice.
That's why we hired him for the Wikipedia.
Donuts. So, speaking of donuts, it's the weekly donut drop. Yay! They went out today. You can check your profile. I know we need to get like a slick soundboard. We need more. Sounds.
Yeah.
Did they go last week?
But the leaderboard is updated. Man, M4T has crossed 7 million donuts. That's incredible. And well, check your weekly drop and share it. Share it. Let your friends know that the donuts are dropping.
Were they dropped last week? I forgot to. I forgot if they were dropped exactly. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and that's my mistake. That if you can't remember, because we should have talked about it on Wizard Wednesday. They drop every Wednesday. Every Wednesday before Wizard Wednesday. So yeah, we've got a couple new donut millionaires who kind of crept up on the leaderboard. We also do have a couple of people that are gaming the slice of bread friend. Now that I say that, I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh geez. We'll clean it up. So yeah, check your donut drop. Let's see them.
Okay, and then finally, the topic that is probably most important to this particular episode. Dotta, I heard that you completely agree Peter Todd is Satoshi.
Oh, geez. When I saw that last night, I was so mad. I was so upset because I have been following the poly market for this for ages. And I don't know why I thought that HBO would have any insight whatsoever. But I at least thought it would be like not embarrassing, right? Like the idea that Peter Todd is Satoshi is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like they clearly were not involved in early Bitcoin. I didn't watch the documentary, but I guess they like met and talked with Peter Todd, which he of course says he isn't because he isn't. He doesn't write like Satoshi. He doesn't speak like Satoshi. He does like. I feel like even if they had said like they'd come out and they'd said, Craig Wright is really Satoshi, fine. Like you're wrong, but like at least there's something there that's like I could see how you could be tricked by that. You did your due diligence, but to say that it's Peter Todd is like you're gonna say it's Peter Todd and Nick Szabo. You're gonna say it's Peter Todd and not Hal Finney. Like give me a break. I was so mad.
You guys, I don't even. You don't even know how upset Dotta was in the Discord. He was typing in all caps. He was like I could hear him losing his shit through the computer screen. And like I don't necessarily disagree with you, Dotta, but it's so funny how like this was the thing that set you off.
Yeah. It's like announcing that like Dwight Schrute like actually works for the CIA or something. It's like no.
Okay, Dotta. Do you have a theory on who do you think is like the best candidate to be Satoshi?
It's probably Hal Finney and like Nick Szabo. Like that they would be kind of my top. Like I don't think that it would be Nick Szabo alone. Like I think that it's like Hal Finney and probably Nick Szabo together.
And top line points for like why you think it might be them.
Well, like they've done like writing analysis or whatever that like matches pretty closely with Hal. Like Hal unfortunately died like around the same time. Nick Szabo also shares quite a lot of the like ideological bent, right? Like even some of like I even had to unfollow him on Twitter a few years ago just because it was just like too much of like let's say I don't know. I'll say partisanship or something. Like it's and like I actually think that a lot of people still don't realize that Bitcoin was created in response to like the 2008 like financial crash, like the like the quantitative easing, like not like the .com crash, but like the post like quantitative easing crash, and that it was like a recognizing of a debasement of the U.S. dollar by like the federal government essentially, right? And so like Nick Szabo has written a lot of very deep, very interesting, very philosophical writings on the nature of money. Like you should dig up his blog and read his posts, right? They're still so good. And so yeah, that's where I would lay.
So I actually agree with you, especially on Hal Finney. I feel like the Occam's razor answer to this is Hal Finney. But let me present my second guess, and that is the CIA. And I'm not like a big conspiracy person, but let me just lay down some like points of interest for this idea. As you just said, like the Bitcoin was created as a response to the financial crisis of 2008, specifically dollar debasement. The U.S. government clearly has a stake in this game. I mean, the dollar reserve currency is probably the greatest weapon that the U.S. government has to maintain global order. And so, what is the solution to dollar debasement? Well, maybe Bitcoin is. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, the CIA and the NSA are like worldwide preeminent experts on cryptography. And I don't know if this is true, but maybe did the NSA actually develop the SHA-256 algorithm?
Ooh, I don't know about the SHA-256. I don't think so, but like the NSA for sure tries to backdoor like every kind of new like hashing algorithm, and like sometimes they get away with it and sometimes they don't, and right, and like I don't know about SHA-256 actually.
Okay, I heard that. I haven't fact checked it, but regardless, yeah. I mean, they're clearly experts on cryptography. And then like the whole Bitcoin network. I mean, what is it? It's like it's a public ledger where every single transaction is publicly viewable, and yet it's got this veneer of anonymity. So it's like simultaneously anonymous but public. A tool like that just sounds like right up the CIA and the NSA's alley. It just seems perfect for them. And so, if you're trying to build like a worldwide surveillance network, the Bitcoin network seems perfect for that. And not only that, but like the CIA, when it's like exercising its control over the world, it's usually doing so in worldwide economies. What is the Bitcoin network? It's an economic network. So like, okay, and then finally, people like Gary Gensler just mystify me. I mean, let's look at who he is. He was previously an MIT professor on blockchain and crypto. Like the guy knows his shit on this topic. And yet, whenever we see him give an interview or testify in front of Congress, he has this like weird, evasive, obtuse demeanor about him where he like just pretends like he has no clue what's going on, or he never answers a question directly.
Right.
And like it seems to me like he and the NSA aren't necessarily trying to destroy crypto or blockchain. They're really just trying to slow it down. And why would they want to slow it down? They want to slow it down so that it becomes more manageable. And I just think like all of these things together just really sort of point to a big government conspiracy.
So here's my take, kind of. One is like, I guess I just don't assume that like level of competence necessarily. So like, this is the thing. I think the invention of Bitcoin was a stroke of genius that like was not at all clear. Like you couldn't actually just like choose to design Bitcoin, and that's kind of like proven out by like, it's not that hard to create an L1 at all, right? Like there's only a handful, and the idea of inventing proof of work was like, you can't just decide to do that and then it works at the level that it did. That basically requires like a genius to have an invention, like how a lot of history has moved forward. And so it seems like more likely that would come from outside the government than from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent point. Never count on the government to execute a plan perfectly. I would agree. But what I would counter with is my guess, okay, if it was like a CIA creation or NSA creation, is that it was really just an experiment. They didn't totally expect it to work like this, and now it's just sort of taken off and it like has a life of its own.
I guess the other part would be something like, okay, two questions. One would be like, why would they want an alternative, a rival to the US dollar? Because doesn't that seem counterproductive? You'd have to say, well, you're part of a shadowy elite that's looking to build your own lifeboat or something like that.
Well, it's the hedge against dollar debasement is why.
Right. And so you'd have to be like, well, there were NSA people that were trying to build a hedge around dollar debasement.
Yeah,
and then they kept all the Bitcoin and they haven't spent it because it hasn't been debased enough or something, that like they see all the guys in that office secretly mine their own Bitcoin so that way they would be rich later on or something. Well, and then the other part, like, was there CIA involvement in like the Silk Road, right? Because then you'd also want to be like, oh, we invented this thing, like let's try to get criminals to use it. Let's invent Silk Road, and like I don't, and then you'd have to be like, well, like Ross was the fall guy or something, right? Like. Is there evidence for that? I don't know.
Okay, so this is so much fun, actually. So my response to both of those would be Silk Road. It's like I said, like they created it as an experiment. It took off gained a life of its own, and then all these like wild characters like Ross Ulbricht started building things with it. So I mean that would be my explanation for that. What was the first point you said? That why would you build a competitor to the dollar?
Yeah, it's like who was in on it, right? Like so.
Oh, and what about the wallet that has 1 million BTC, right?
Like, wouldn't everyone in the office would just mine a bunch because they're like, hey guys, we're gonna get so like pre-mining the shitcoin or whatever.
I mean, okay, again, just a guess, but my guess is like that wallet is like institutionally controlled, and so it's it's not. We're not talking about like 3 guys who could just suddenly get rich. It's like it's institutionalized. There's like bureaucracy in the way of that wallet. That'd be my theory.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not. Maybe you can't know for sure. So I think it's valid. It's totally valid.
Here's my biggest point against it. Like, as far as we know, there's no like major U.S. mining operations. Like other countries have much bigger mining operations than the U.S. Is that right? That's my hunch.
You can look it up. I don't know the number. Forgotten Runiverse has your hand up, please.
Matto, sorry. What's up?
I was gonna say actually my pet theory that I've had for long is almost like a combination of what you two are talking about. My pet theory is it was from the CIA, but it wasn't the CIA itself, more like a rogue member within the CIA who was very pissed off at what was going on, right? And they had this kind of insider information. They had like this advanced cryptography that the CIA was already working on, and they just decided to just leak it. And that also kind of explains like why from the very beginning they were like super crypto about like hiding who they are, because like the big trouble, like somebody leaked from the CIA, right? And like the CIA isn't gonna like come out public and say, hey, somebody leaked out this like secret this cryptography that we had like hidden, right? So they kind of like kept it hush hush. And maybe not to be too morbid, but they kind of like done him in, and so we haven't heard from Satoshi Nakamoto because the CIA found him and it kind of like quietly took care of him. But hey, that's my pet theory on it. So
interesting.
So I think, as promised, we revealed the identity of Satoshi. It was the CIA who hired and then offed Hal Finney.
Dorian Nakamoto.
Dorian Nakamoto.
I'm looking at the Bitcoin mining map, and you know what? There's actually a good number of servers in the U.S., which is good. I want all of the Bitcoins to be made in America.
Awesome. Yep.
I was gonna also mention earlier, Dotta. It's like if it makes you feel any better, when they did interview Todd on the HBO, he actually had like the same reaction to. He just like laughed uncontrollably, and he said he was like, "This is hilarious! Like you guys." I'm glad that you guys are doing this because like it just shows how silly this whole thing is, and like everybody in the Bitcoin community, when they see this, they're just gonna laugh at you. Like he just straight up said that in the interview. Like it's so ridiculous, they're just gonna get laughed at, and they still went with it.
They still went with it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, we're almost out of time, but I love this conversation. I hope we didn't bore anyone. It's just such a fun topic.
Bear's not here.
And Bear's not here, so we can talk whatever we want about, whatever we want to about about whatever we want to. Plus, it's the lore is tied into the Shadow Hat, so I mean, this is not like totally foreign to Forgotten Runes.
Yep.
Wild Mage and Justice, both of your hands are up. Sorry, do you guys have any insight into Satoshi's identity?
Oh, it's definitely the CIA.
All right.
I mean, imagine the coming like American economic renaissance whenever it finally gets revealed.
That the CIA,
I would love that.
did it.
That's like a pro-America take. That it's like, look at this. It's part of the U.S. Treasury.
Yeah, I mean, it really would be like that if all of a sudden they're like, bam, it's us, guys, check it.
I don't know that I would actually be that happy about that, frankly, because then people would be like, well, give me some. And then they would sell it.
I also wanted to say, though, I had one question and one announcement, if I could sneak those in.
Of course.
Please.
The question is, are you guys willing to announce when the Halloween Warrior event is going to be? And the reason why I ask is because I definitely want to make sure I take off that afternoon.
No, we're aiming for it to run across multiple days and
Okay.
either multiple times or be up running for like several hours, such that we can make more space. Because I do know last year it was like over lunch in my time zone, you know. So yeah, so the current plan is that it will be running for multiple calendar days, multiple hours each day. But we don't have that pinned down this second. There's still some dev work, and I know it's really close, but yeah, we'll try to. I think there might even be a Saturday, like kind of in the plans. But you'll have to forgive me for not having an exact date. But we're going to leave a bigger window.
That definitely relieves me because I had to make sure that I took off like that afternoon last time to play. And the announcement, though, well, not only is Tanya Del Rio going to be our Monday Magic News guest for the second time this coming Monday, but we also have a giveaway of a guaranteed cameo in one of Tanya Del Rio's Inktober's. And there's only 21 left, guys. And no, there's 22 left. Yes. And yeah, all you got to do is go and follow us at Money Magic News and retweet the announcement that was posted earlier today for the show coming Monday. And, and go ahead and follow Tanya while you're at it anyways. And also be present when we do the live Twitter picker on the show.
Okay, amazing.
Wild Mage, are you saying Tanya will like draw like a piece of artwork for the winner? Is that the prize that's available?
Well, you know how sometimes some of the Inktober's feature just like one wizard in particular or two, and then sometimes featured 3 or 4 in a specific scene. And this, if you're a winner, you are guaranteed a spot in one of these Inktober's. You're a wizard or warrior.
Gotcha. That sounds amazing.
So, especially for the especially for a lot of the new Ronin community wizard and warrior holders that haven't, I guess been around as much, would not necessarily be as prominent in the community, but still be a great opportunity.
That's so cool, man.
Okay, amazing. What time is tell everybody what time is Magic Monday News?
Oh, Magic Monday News is every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, amazing.
Fantastic. Okay, well, speaking of Tanya Del Rio, we have the Cult Content Chronicle compiled by
the illustrious Tanya Del Rio.
Every damn week.
I waited too long. I thought it was
okay. I'll let you do your thing and kind of give everybody's feedback, because I know that artists want to hear from the artist. But I just have to say, there are 27 pieces in this week's Cult Content Chronicle, which is actually half of what it's been most weeks. It's been close to 50. There are 27 pieces, and the level of quality of content is blowing my mind. Like, no shade whatsoever to kind of like the art that was being produced in, like, let's say the early days, quote unquote, of Forgotten Runes. But like the production quality of this art is so good. And it's not all just like AI art either, right? These are like hand-drawn productions made with care. I can't even believe how good they are. So with that premise, go ahead, take it away, Elf.
Dotta, I love that you said that, and I totally agree. This particular issue is hot. So yeah, let's jump in. Number 1, I mean, right off the bat, just a banger by Marco Fine. I think it's of Bearsnake's wizard, but it's like Bearsnake as a child, because he's beardless, and it's just such an awesome freaking image. There's like so much going on. Like, it's just, it might be one of the best pieces of Bearsnake art I've seen in forever, maybe ever. It's just killer. Nice job, Mark Fine. And then just right up on Marco Fine's heels, David Azel 7 commissioned David Azel, I think from the Ronin community, to make this beautiful piece of his soul. And then Cruciforce shared a commission from Tuna Seti V of his Pyromancer. Just another beautiful piece. And then Bill Gaines shared a really nice piece of Salty Sloan, created by Claven XS Art, with funding from the DAO. And then there's another post from the Forgotten Council DAO of just a bunch of commissions that were funded by the DAO. Castamere, one of the preeminent waifu artists of the cult, is working on a beautiful piece of the Seven-Tailed Kitsune. Gillian Art. Man, Gillian has such a fun, I guess, format, I would say. Gillian is known for doing these like really fun, God, what do you call them? Like these images of a character walking across a landscape on this like treadmill effect.
Yep. Yeah, he had some NFTs, or they had some NFTs, a couple of years ago, and I minted them. They're just incredible.
They're so cool. And I love that Gillian does so many Forgotten Runes pieces of art in this style. So yeah, that was awesome. The DAO, of course, funded this community dungeon crawler Unchained game. We've mentioned it before on Wizard Wednesday, and it's coming right along. What's the connection with the Treasure DAO and the Unchained game? Does anyone know?
Yeah, someone come up and tell us about it. I also don't know like the timeline or the URL or like what it is, right? What I see is like, I know that it's people in the Forgotten Runes community. I know that, it's our own people that are doing it, but I you'll have to forgive me. I actually don't even know what it is. I think it's like an AI storytelling game, but then Treasure put up like what, 500K or something for a prize pool, which is nuts. That was like, that's like not that easy to get a hold of.
Damn, so 500K? That's amazing.
That's like how much we were going to put up for Goblin Town. So it's like, geez, wow. That's serious. So somebody come up here and tell us what's going on with Unchained. And if you can't do it this week, let's do it next week.
I don't know the full details, so yeah, maybe better to get NFT Sasha to share all of it. But yeah, it's a dungeon crawler. Oz is doing the art, and it ran through our DAO, but they're just getting it up and ready to launch. And this Treasure DAO information just came in this week, so I don't know exactly what it means for it, but yeah, I assume just a lot more exposure and a much bigger prize pool.
That's so fun.
I can't believe somebody's about to make $500,000 from this. That's so great.
I don't think it's one person, but yes.
Oh, that's just the pool that will be distributed to mini winners, I guess.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, still, that's a lot of money. Okay. Okay. This next piece is one of my favorites. Zayla Soul posted his young Dream Master. And I think Zay posted this years ago, but it's like one of the best pieces of Forgotten Runes content ever. And so I'm glad he's resharing it. Like, how cute is that baby Dream Master?
So cute.
It's freaking adorable. I love it. I love it so much. Okay, Magus Devon shared an image of poor bread friend getting sliced. Matto, what are you trying to do here?
Oh, he's cake. He's made out of cake.
Cake friend. Pretty cute. Okay, and then another one from Matto. The top 10 anime. It's another bread friend meme. Okay, I'm not gonna try to describe it. Just go look at it. And then Matto shared just an adorable little. Wait, is this an AI video? I can't tell.
Yeah, it's an AI gen of like, there's a squisher on, I don't know, Runway, one of these.
Yeah.
Where like you upload a photo and like they squish it like clay.
Yep, that's it. Okay, super cute. This is one of my favorites of the week. Man, there's so many bangers this week. DAOX Lab, who is just like one of the most talented, just like poly talents that we have, is just doing experiments in a game engine. I think it's Unity. And It's Crucifor's wizard David doing his most signature spell, the Cucum Dog Metamorphosis. Daleks Lab, you really generated a lot of discussion behind the scenes on this one. I'll tell you that much.
Yep.
You might have people knocking on your door trying to scalp your talents in the future. So keep it going, man. It's so much fun. Sorry, just a little bit more on that. Like what's so fun about this video is it's one cult member using another cult member's lore to make something just very funny, and it's like a reference to like a deep cut meme within the lore. And it's like this is like some real cult shit when you look at this, something like this. It's just I think Zayla Soul said, like, commented like the lore is so deep on this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great, man. Okay, Clooney the Rat continues building in Nifty Island. Clooney basically made a character just made out of the Forgotten Runes dice.
That's fun.
Yeah, super fun. Virgilius the Sorcerer continues making lore, this time about his robot warrior. Magus Wazir, our very own Dream Master, made a fun, basically fact-checking image. Honestly, this image is so funny. It's so banal, but it cracks me up. I don't know what it is about it, but I just think it's so funny. Like Waz has been using this in our Discord to like fact check us, and it's just so funny every time he uses it.
Right.
Igdual, our new Wikipedia editor, shared just a fun meme, I guess. I don't know how to describe this.
Collage, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah. But go have a look at it. And then Meeple Dad is, of course, hard at work on all the juicy items that will be featured in Treasure Trove 2.0. And so we shared a sneak peek of one of the cards. And then, of course, shared a sneak peek of some of the map cards. He shared a Bugbear Moonshine card. And then Jason DeSante continues with the Daily Dancing Wizzy Vizzy Viddies, number 73. Meeple Dad continues with the Riddles in the Dark. Tanya Del Rio has been on an Inktober binge. This latest one features the guys from Magic Monday News, Wild Mage and Hen Boyd. And the fun little detail of the little Nas in the background is super fun.
I can't wait for the coloring book. Oh, man.
Yes, super fun. And then, of course, Magic Monday News, Second Gulf War was their guest last week. And then, of course, Tanya will be the guest next week. Bill Gaines shared a commission of the Salt Kelpie.
Breathtaking. When I saw it, I like literally took my breath. I was like, oh, this is majestic. It's so good.
Honestly, the Salt Kelpies never looked better. It's so badass.
Yeah.
And then, oh man, okay, another good one. Okay, Ozma Bro just put together basically a portfolio website of everything he has done since day one for Forgotten Runes. Man, go look at this portfolio. It is like the scrolling will take you like a good 5 minutes to get through it all. It's just an incredible body of work. I mean, you look at output like this, and it's like you realize, okay, having Oz's atelier, his studio, literally on the Forgotten Runes map is well deserved.
Yeah.
It's so impressive, Oz. I'm so proud of you, man. I'm like honestly like envious that you get to like make so much cult content art. Like sometimes I just wish I was like a cult member and not a cult leader, because I want to do this. But yeah, really impressive, Oz.
Did we already talk about the Salty Sloan piece by Clavin too? So I guess Clavin did that Salt Kelpie, and then he also did a Salty Sloan painting. I think.
Yeah, I mentioned it, but did you want to say something else?
Oh no! Well, I just was noticing. I was making the connection that he did both pieces, and man, it's just so good. So good.
Yeah, Clavin, I think is like a new artist. I mean, I haven't seen him before.
He's from Kind Guild, so I think he's like new Ronin person.
Man,
So,
the team up with Ronin has just been straight up
incredible.
Magic. Yeah. Okay, and then finally, Drondin has made actually something really cool. Dotta, you were talking about this earlier today. You want to say anything about it?
Yeah, it's really amazing. So yeah, Drondin did a WizBnB, which takes the lat long that we published in the API data for the plots and puts them on a map over some of the like kind of leaked maps that we have. So it looks really good. So it's a great way that you can kind of find plots. I feel a little bad insofar as we are also working on something similar that's baked into Forgotten Market. But you know what? What he was able to do was able to ship faster than us. It's still probably going to be a couple weeks before we have ours out anyway. So yeah, it looks amazing. Try it out. It's like really, really incredible work that he was able to do faster than us. So check it out. Love it.
Yeah, it's it's just amazing how much the cult builds. It really is. I mean, it really is just all the creation. I really don't think any other NFT community has a community that builds as much as ours.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. One of the things that I'm like thinking a lot about, I'll talk more about. I'm putting together a light paper. Is this idea around how can you track the provenance of like individual creative contributions? So then that way, when it comes time to make pieces that like earn money that you can kind of pay appropriately, right? So we're working on some systems that will take that to the next level. Like, of course, what we've done now is like a human reads the book of lore and a human makes a spreadsheet and then a human like writes the story and then we like just kind of sort of categorize it, right? Major, minor, whatever. But I think that like we have the internet and we have LLMs and AI and we have cryptocurrency. And so there's new opportunities for building financial incentives for creative contributions that have literally never been possible before and never been done before that we are perfectly poised to do. So yeah, that's on the horizon. So
yeah, you're making me want to rant for another 10 minutes, but all I'll say is like is like all the building and the creation it's so important. It is
it's everything.
It's everything. Like lore really is at the core, and Magic Machine knows that, and we're using it, and we think about it every day. I mean, just when I'm like writing dungeon docs, the fact that there's like a whole Runes TCG card set, and there's thousands of pages of the Book of Lore, and there's the Wikipedia. Like I'm using all of it, and I'm just so impressed with how much like lore that we have. Like honestly, I think we have more lore than J.R. Tolkien now.
We're like the Lost Boys, right? Like you just sort of like in that movie Hook, one of my favorites, right? Where you like sit around the table and then to like a non-believer, it looks like they're just like eating air. And then like when you kind of like your eyes, the scales fall off of your eyes, you realize that like we're throwing real pudding at each other and we're perfectly full, right? And like you kind of like will it into existence. And that's like totally happening before our eyes.
Killer analogy, bro. Hook is an awesome movie.
Well, this Halloween will be our 4th annual Halloween event. 4th. To show me another NFT project that has had a 4th annual event.
Damn right.
Yeah. So clear your calendars for the week of Halloween because we haven't given you a date yet. So tell your bosses you have to wait and see till our schedule clears up. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be so fun. Okay, Entropy, do you have your audio jacks all plugged in and your computer functioning? And
we sure hope so. Let's try.
Okay, so yeah, tune in next time where Dotta and I will continue to argue about data mining. We will continue to debate the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto. We will continue to discuss all of the magic happening. And this has been Elf, Dotta, Entropy, Tad Major, Wild Mage, and all of the Wizards of the Forgotten Runes Wizards Cult channeling out. See you, everybody.
Bye.
Black goat elf, not a puppet too. Bearsnake by the ocean blue. It's Wizard Wednesday. It's Wizard Wednesday. Kobolds and Dream Master Sword putting their rune on the door. It's Wizard Wednesday forevermore. Wizard Wednesday, lore at the core. We are a cult with a world of our own, never forgotten or magic is known. It's Wizard Wednesday, it's Wizard Wednesday. Let's read from the book of lore, legendary wizards at the core. Don't get lost in the quantum shadow, abracadabra is our magical manifesto. Wednesday. It's Wizard Wednesday. Eat a donut, set your soul on fire. The sacred flame on a funeral pyre. The seventh gate with golden light.